Hello everyone, welcome to Guiding Pro Education. In this, I'm starting with the module ecosystem, module number 3 ecosystem. So if you see module 3 ecosystem deals with concept of an ecosystem, structure and functions of an ecosystem, producers, consumers and decomposers, energy flow in the ecosystem, ecological successions, food chains, food webs and ecological pyramids, introductions, types, characteristic features, structure and functions of the following ecosystem: forest, grassland, desert, aquatic. Now in this class we will be focusing on the concept of an ecosystem, structure and functioning of an ecosystem. So let's start. So if we talk about concept of an ecosystem, what is an ecosystem? Ecosystem, if we define, it is an interaction between living and non-living things. So what is an ecosystem? It is basically an interaction between living and non-living things. So this is what is the ecosystem. That means what? If this is a living organism, say this is a living organism. For maintenance of its life or survival, this living organism X is dependent on food, water, oxygen. If you see, oxygen is also non-living or non-living thing, and water is also non-living thing. Food is a non-living thing, but it is prepared by plants, which are living thing. So this interaction of living and non-living thing to maintain a life, to maintain and sustain life on earth, we call it ecosystem. Clear? So ecosystem can be defined as a self-regulating group of biotic communities of species interacting with their non-living environment, exchanging energy and matter. Study of ecosystem is called as ecology. And what is ecology? Ecology is basically the study of organism in their natural home, interacting with their surrounding. How living organisms interacts with surrounding and non-living thing, interacts with surroundings and non-living things. How living organism interacts with surroundings and non-living things is the ecology. The term ecosystem was coined by a scientist called as, or actually botanist, they named as A.G. Tansley in 1935. An ecosystem is the structural and functional unit of ecology, encompassing complex interaction between the biotic and abiotic component. Coming to structure of ecosystem, if you see structure of ecosystem, it is divided into two parts. One is abiotic and another is biotic. Now what is abiotic? If we talk about abiotic, it includes what? Absence. A stands for absence and biotic stands for absence of life or absence of living organism. So it includes what? It includes all non-living things. Clear? But if we talk about biotic, it comes from the word bio, means what? Life. So it includes all living organisms. Clear? So now if we see this in a detail, ecosystem, if you see in detail, this is ecosystem. It is composed of two parts. That is, ecosystem is possible only when there is an interaction of biotic and abiotic factor. This is biotic factor and this is abiotic factor. Abiotic is what? Absence of life. And this is what? Living or life organism, right? So if you see biotic component can be classified in the following three parts. One is producers, another is consumer, and third is decomposers. Clear? Now, so you see the biotic component is divided into three parts: producers, consumers, decomposers. Producers are also known as autotroph. Consumers are also known as heterotrophs. And decomposers are also known as reducers. Right? So if you see autotroph, what do you mean by autotroph? It is a combination of two words, auto plus troph. Auto means self, troph means nutrition. So this includes organisms which prepare their own food. It includes example plants and certain bacteria. Clear? Now if we talk about consumer, what is consumer or hetero? Hetero means different, and troph means again nutrition. So these are organisms. This includes organisms which cannot prepare their own food, but dependent on others for food. Right? Cross means what? What is this cross sign means? It means they cannot prepare their own food but dependent on others for food. This heterotroph or consumers, if you see, it can be divided into primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and quaternary consumer. Primary consumer are also known as herbivores. What are herbivores? Those organisms which eat green plants, right? Secondary consumer are also known as primary carnivore. That means flesh-eating animals. That means what? Flesh-eating organisms. Tertiary consumer includes large carnivores, and quaternary consumer includes omnivores. What are omnivores? These are both plants and flesh-eating organisms, right? Coming to decomposers. What are decomposers? Decomposers or reducers, these are those organisms which eat dead and decaying organic matter. We call them decomposers or reducers. Clear? Coming to abiotic. If we talk about abiotic is absence of life. So it includes two things. What is the two things? One is climatic and another is edaphic factors. Now what does climatic factors includes? What does climatic factors includes? Climatic factors include temperature, rain, wind, etc. And what is edaphic factors includes? It includes soil, pH, minerals, topography. Minerals and topography. Clear? This is a complete structure of what? Ecosystem. You can say systematic representation of the structure of ecosystem. So this is what? Structure of ecosystem. Very important. Clear? Yes? Now coming to biotic components. So these constitute all the living members of an ecosystem. Biotic components includes what? All living organisms. It includes all living organisms. These are of three types: producers, consumers, decomposers. What are producers? Also known as autotroph. What is autotroph? It is combination of two words, auto plus trophs. Auto means self and troph means nutrition. So this includes organisms which can prepare their own food. Clear? Coming to consumers. Consumers are also known as heterotroph. If you see hetero, it is again combination of two words, hetero and troph. Hetero means different and troph means nutrition. So this includes organisms. This includes organisms which cannot prepare their own food, but are dependent on others, for food and energy. We call them what? Heterotrophs. Coming to decomposers. What are decomposers? These are also known as reducers. This includes organisms. This includes organisms like bacteria, fungi, which eat dead and decaying organic matter. Clear? So this is all about biotic components. So producers are also known as autotroph. That means they prepare their own food. If you see producers, it can be divided into two types. What are two types? See, autotroph and chemoautotrophs. Now what is photoautotrophs? Photo means light and autotrophs means what? Producers, which can prepare their own food. So this includes organisms, producers, which uses light energy to prepare their own food. We call them photoautotrophs. Coming to chemoautotrophs, it is again combination of two. Chemo stands for chemicals and autotroph stands for again producers. So this includes organisms which uses chemical energy to produce food. We call them chemoautotrophs. So you see, producers, these are constituted mainly by green plants. Green plants trap solar energy and converts into potential chemical energy in the process called photosynthesis. These species are also known as photoautotroph. Photo means light. Autotroph means again producers. Right? Coming to another, the plant species which lives inside ocean water, they use in the absence of sunlight. If sunlight cannot penetrate more depth, there are certain organisms except phytoplankton and all which uses, like bacteria, green sulfur bacteria, purple sulfur bacteria, they use chemicals. Why? To prepare their own food and are known as chemoautotroph. And this process is called process by which they prepare food. We call them chemosynthesis. This one we call photosynthesis and this one we call chemosynthesis. Clear? So this is about producers. Coming to consumers. Consumers includes organisms which cannot prepare their own food. Cannot prepare their own, which cannot prepare their own food but are dependent on others, for food, right? So if you see the consumers, it is divided into 4 types. How many types? It is divided into 4 types. What are 4 types? You see, the primary consumer, also known as herbivores. Now what are herbivores? These are organisms which eat which eat green plants or which feed on the plants. We call them herbivores. Example, rabbit, deer, goat, cattle. Secondary consumers are also known as primary carnivores. These are organisms which eat flesh of other organisms, right? Or flesh of herbivores. They mainly feed on the herbivores and are called primary carnivores. Example, cats, fox, snakes, etc. Coming to tertiary consumer or third order consumers, these are the large carnivores which feed on the secondary consumers. Again, these are what? Third carnivores consumers includes large carnivores. Example, wolf, tiger, lion, right? Coming to quaternary consumers. What are quaternary consumers? These are the largest carnivores which are not eaten up. These are the largest organisms which are not eaten up by other animals. Example, humans. And they are also known as omnivores. Omni means both. They eat both green plants and flesh. Clear? So what we have seen, consumer is divided into 4 types: primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. Primary or consumer, also known as herbivores. Secondary consumer, also known as primary carnivores. Yes, herbivores, primary carnivores. Tertiary consumer, also known as large carnivores, and quaternary consumer, also known as omnivores. Clear? Coming to decomposers. Decomposers are organisms also known as reducers. They are organisms which feeds on dead and decaying organic matter. That means, what if any dead body is, say this is a dead body, right? Dead body lying over, this is a dead body lying on earth. So what will happen? The bacteria, fungi, whoever is present, it will release enzyme over the dead body and it will convert all the protein, carbohydrates of the dead body into carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and these are released into the environment and they are utilized by plants for preparation of food again. So they derive their food by breaking down the complex organic molecules to simple organic compounds and finally to inorganic nutrients. Who are the organism? Bacteria and fungi. They break down the dead organic materials of producers and consumers for their food and release to the environment the simple inorganic and organic substances produced as a byproduct. Thus, this helps in the cyclic exchange of materials or nutrient. Thus, it also helps in nutrient cycling. Clear? Coming to abiotic component. When we talk about abiotic component, as I already told you, abiotic means what? Absence of life. So includes what? All non-living. It includes all non-living matters, right? So abiotic components of an ecosystem consist of non-living substances and factors. They are categorized into 2 parts: climatic factor and edaphic factor. Climatic factor includes rain, temperature, light, and edaphic factor includes soil, pH, topography, minerals, etc. Now we will see the importance of abiotic factor, how abiotic factor is helping. We will see importance, how abiotic factor is helping. So if we see soil, if we focus on soil, what does soil contain? Soil contains nutrients, minerals needed by plants for photosynthesis, right? It is a growing medium for organism. You can say soil is what? It is a growing medium for organisms. Clear? Coming to atmosphere, what does atmosphere includes? It helps in exchange of gases. It helps in exchange of gases like carbon dioxide, what? Taken in by plants, and oxygen. Take carbon dioxide in by plants and oxygen release out by plants. And in human, what will happen? Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out in animals. So this is what? Atmosphere. Coming to solar radiation. Solar radiation is what? It is a light energy. It is what? It is a light energy. Why do we need light energy? For photosynthesis. Who need this light energy? Photosynthesis by plants. Clear? So solar radiation, it is helping in photosynthesis. Clear? Yes. Now most living tissue. Next is water. What is water? Water is a medium by which mineral nutrients enter and are translocated in plants. Let me tell you, many cell needs water in between 60 to 90%. And if any cell water concentration, if in some cells water concentration of protoplasm decreases or less than 10%, it may kill the cell. So this is important, right? So these all are abiotic factors which are helping in maintaining and sustaining our life on Earth. Coming to functioning of ecosystem. If we talk about functioning of ecosystem, say I am just adding the definition. I'll define in this slide. We're just looking into the definition. The detailed part we will see in the next class. Detail in next class. Clear? So if you see productivity, what is productivity? It is a rate of biomass production. The rate at which biomass is produced, we call it productivity. And the function of ecosystem, the first function is the productivity. Second is decomposition. What is decomposition? The breakdown of complex organic matter into simpler substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrients is called decomposition. Who did this? Bacteria and fungi. Clear? Coming to energy flow. How energy is flow? How energy is transferred? Energy is transferred from one trophic level to another. Now see, let me explain you. Grass eaten up by deer, eaten up by lion. So what is happening? The grass is getting, how grass is getting energy? By photosynthesis. By photosynthesis, grass is getting energy. Now when deer eats these grasses, what will happen? The energy, some amount of energy is transferred to the deer. And when lion eats this deer, the energy is transferred to the lion. So this is how the energy flow in the ecosystem. Coming to biological processes, food chains and energy flow are the functional properties of ecosystem which make them dynamic. The biotic and abiotic component of ecosystem are linked through them. Next is biogeochemical processes. What is biogeochemical processes? It is a cyclic exchange of materials between the living organism and non-living environment. How nutrient and minerals are exchanged between living and non-living. Say for example, this is a living organism. What it will do? It will take energy. Suppose this is a plant. Say this is a plant. It is producing food. Yes or no? It is producing glucose in the presence of light energy. And we call this photosynthesis. When this plant die, what will happen? It falls on the ground. Falls on ground. Yes. Now there comes bacteria and fungi which will break the protein content or which will convert these complex substances into carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus and are released back into the environment. Thus helps in cycling of the nutrients. Thus, if we go for a quick revision, you see, if we go for a quick revision of this session, what we have noticed in this class is we have seen that ecosystem, what is ecosystem? Is an interaction between biotic. Ecosystem is nothing but interaction of interaction of biotic and abiotic factors. Now, what is biotic and abiotic factors? If we define biotic factors, it includes all living organisms. It includes all living organisms. And what is abiotic? All non-living substances. All non-living substances. Now, if you see this one, all living substances or organism means what? This can be classified as three types. That is producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers are also known as autotrophs. If you see again autotroph, what is autotroph? Auto means self, troph means nutrition. So this includes organisms. This includes organisms which prepare their own food. Which prepare their own food. Example, plants and bacteria. Coming to consumer, what is consumer? Consumers are also known as heterotroph. So it includes, it's a combination of two words. Hetero means different and troph means nutrition. So this includes organisms which cannot prepare their own food but are dependent on others for food. Clear? So what it includes? It is divided into primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Primary consumer are also known as herbivores. That means those organisms which eat green plants, eating organism. Secondary consumer are also known as what? Primary carnivores. That means this includes flesh eating organisms. Tertiary consumer includes large carnivores and quaternary includes omnivores. This includes organisms which eat both green plants plus flesh. Clear? So this is heterotroph. Coming to the decomposers. What are decomposers? They are also known as reducers. This includes those organisms which feeds on dead and decaying organic matter. Clear? Coming to abiotic factor. Abiotic factor includes all non-living substances. It can be divided into two parts. One is climatic factor, another is edaphic factors. Now, what is climatic factors? Climatic factors includes temperature, wind, rain, etc. And edaphic factor, what it includes? Minerals, pH, soil, etc. Right? So what we have seen the interaction of biotic and abiotic factor in this class, right? And also I would like to explain one more, I would like to bring one more thing here. Just give me 2 minutes. This is a quick revision of the class, and in this class I would like to share one more thing here. What is that? See here, what is the interaction of ecosystem? If you see ecosystem, how they are interacting. See here, if this is a sun, now sun rays will fall. What will happen? This sun rays will fall on the green plants. So what green plants will do? They will prepare food in the form of glucose, and during this process what they take? During this process they take carbon dioxide and water, and this process we called it photosynthesis, right? They prepare food, and this food, what will happen? This food are eaten up by herbivores. What are herbivores? Green plants eating organism, right? Now herbivores are eaten up by carnivores, right? Or flesh eating animals or consumers. Now when they died, when this organism died, there comes what? Decomposers. What decomposers will do? They will break the protein, organic compounds into carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, which is released into the environment and are again absorbed by the green plants for growth and photosynthesis. Clear? So here these green plants preparing their own food, what we call? We call them autotrophs, or also we call them producers, these green plants. And these herbivore, from this to this, we call them consumers. This is what? Primary consumer. This is secondary consumer, right? And when they died, who comes into role? Decomposers. What they do? They convert, they act, or they break down all the organic matter into inorganic substances, which are released back into the environment, and thus helps in the nutrient cycling. Clear? With this, I would like to end up the class. Next class, we'll see the functioning of the ecosystem in detail. Thank you so much for giving your time. I think you got the session today. If any doubt, please feel free to ask. Thank you so much.